A soldier and his canine found an 8-year-old girl beside a rusted truck. Her cry shattered their hearts. The desert wind howled across the abandoned road. Sergeant Daniel Brooks adjusted the strap of his rifle as he scanned the empty horizon. His partner, a German shepherd named Rex, walked at his side alert, ears pricked, nose twitching. They had been together for 3 years, surviving missions most men wouldn't dare. Rex was more than a dog. He was family, a brother in arms, and the only constant presence in Daniel's war-torn world. It was supposed to be a routine patrol sweeping through an area scarred by conflict, searching for signs of hidden explosives or survivors. But what Daniel didn't know was that fate had prepared something different that day. Something that would test his heart more than his strength. As they passed a rusted old truck sitting crooked at the edge of a dirt path, Rex suddenly froze. His body stiffened, and he let out a low growl, then a sharp whine. Daniel immediately raised his hand, signaling caution. His pulse quickened. He had learned to trust Rex's instincts. If the dog reacted, something was there. "Easy, boy," Daniel whispered, crouching low, eyes scanning. He aimed his rifle at the truck, expecting danger. Instead, what came next pierced him in a way no bullet ever could. A faint, broken cry. It was the sound of a child, fragile, desperate, the kind of cry that carried unbearable pain.
Ow.
Daniel's heart thudded. He pushed forward slowly, Rex beside him, both of them tense but curious. As he rounded the back of the truck, his breath caught in his throat. There, curled up against the rusted metal, was a little girl, no older than 8. Her face was streaked with dirt and tears. Her clothes were torn, her bare feet scratched and bloody. She clutched a ragged stuffed bear so tightly against her chest that her knuckles were white. When she saw Daniel, her eyes widened in terror. She let out another sob and tried to back away, but there was nowhere left to go. Rex lowered himself slowly, lying down to appear less threatening. Then, as if sensing the child's pain, he crawled forward inch by inch, tail wagging gently, his eyes soft. The girl froze, then reached out a trembling hand. Rex licked her fingers gently, and for the first time, her cry softened into a fragile sniffle. Daniel lowered his rifle and removed his helmet, kneeling down. "Hey, you're safe now. We're not here to hurt you," he said softly, his voice cracking with emotion. The girl stared at him for a long moment before whispering one word that broke him completely. "Mommy." Daniel swallowed hard. He looked around the truck, the empty road, the silence that pressed against them. There was no one else. "Where's your mommy?" he asked gently. The girl pointed weakly toward the hills. "She told me to hide. She said she'd come back. But she never did." Daniel felt his chest tighten. He knew what that usually meant in this part of the world. Still, he couldn't let despair show. He forced a reassuring smile. "We'll find her. But for now, you're safe with us." He offered his hand, and after a moment's hesitation, the girl placed her tiny palm in his. Her touch was feather-light, trembling. Her name was Amira. Over the next few days, Daniel and Rex cared for her as their unit moved through the region. At first, Amira barely spoke. She cried often in her sleep, waking up screaming for her mother. She refused to eat until Rex nudged food toward her, almost as if he were telling her it was okay. Slowly, she began to trust them. She braided Rex's fur with scraps of string, whispered to him when she was too afraid to talk to the soldiers, and eventually hesitantly began to laugh again. That laugh was like sunlight in a world of shadows. For Daniel, who had seen so much darkness, it felt like a gift from heaven. But Amira's presence also posed a challenge. The region was unstable, and traveling with a child made every step more dangerous. The unit debated whether it was safe to keep her with them. Some argued she should be sent to a temporary camp immediately, but Daniel couldn't let her go, not yet. Yes. She clung to him, and Rex like her life depended on it. "Sergeant," one of his men said one night, "you're getting too attached. She's not your responsibility." Daniel looked at the little girl curled up against Rex, finally sleeping peacefully. He shook his head. "She's a child, and right now she is my responsibility. Yes. As long as I'm breathing, she won't be alone." Their journey grew harder. On one patrol, the unit was ambushed. Gunfire erupted in the distance. Daniel's first thought wasn't about himself. It was about Amira. He grabbed her, shielded her behind a wall of broken stone, and commanded Rex to stay by her side. "Don't move. Protect her," Daniel ordered. Rex barked once in understanding. The firefight raged, bullets whizzing past. When it was over, the enemy retreated, but Daniel was left shaken. He realized how fragile life was, and how much he now feared losing the child who had become like a daughter to him. That night, Amira placed her small hand on his arm. "She didn't let them take me," she whispered. "Thank you." Daniel swallowed the lump in his throat. "I promised I wouldn't, and I keep my promises." Weeks passed. Eventually, Daniel received news that a humanitarian camp nearby was taking in displaced families. It was the safest place for Amira, but when he told her, her eyes filled with tears. "I don't want to go," she whispered. "I want to stay with you and Rex." Daniel's heart twisted. He wanted that too. But deep down, he knew she deserved more than life on a battlefield. She deserved a chance to be a child again. He knelt down, holding her shoulders gently. "Amira, you're brave. Braver than anyone I've ever met. But you need a place where you can go to school, play, and laugh every day. That's what your mom would want for you." Her lip trembled. "But what if I lose you too?" Daniel's voice broke. "You'll never lose me. I'll carry you here," he placed her hand on his heart, "for the rest of my life. And Rex will never forget you either." On the day they brought her to the camp, Amira hugged Rex so tightly he whimpered softly, licking her cheek.
Ow.
Then she turned to Daniel, eyes overflowing with tears. "Love you, soldier," she whispered. Daniel pulled her into his arms, holding her like his own daughter. "I love you too, little warrior, always." Years later, Daniel returned home. War had left scars visible and invisible, but one day, a letter reached him. It was from Amira. She was safe in school and thriving. She thanked him for saving her life, for being her protector, and for teaching her that even in the darkest places, love could still be found. Daniel sat with Rex at his feet, tears streaming down his face as he read her words. He realized that meeting Amira had saved him too. She reminded him why he fought not for politics or borders, but for innocent lives that deserved a chance to dream again. Message of the story: sometimes the greatest battles a soldier fights aren't on the battlefield, they in protecting the fragile spark of innocence in a world torn apart. Love, loyalty, and compassion can heal even the deepest wounds. And sometimes a child est, cry docen, just break your heart, gives you a reason to keep going.